So let's sort of a little overview of where we're at here. Everything my colleagues on the Democratic side said about helping Ukraine makes perfect sense to me. I think we need to help Ukraine. I thought it was a really bad idea to get out of Iraq in 2011. I issued a statement about our withdrawal in 2011. I said, I respectfully disagree with President Obama. I feel all we have worked for, fought for, sacrificed for is very much in jeopardy by today's announcement. Hope I am wrong and the President is right, but I fear this decision has set in motion events that will come back to haunt our country. The ISIS was not the JV team. A lot of people were slaughtered throughout the planet because of that ill-advised decision. So we got out of Afghanistan. President Biden chose to do that. I've got a statement here I'll put in the record. I was very clear that if we get out of Afghanistan, pull all the troops, that there will be a reemergence of al-Qaeda and ISIS, and that there will be great major upheaval as this decision by President Biden is a disaster in the making. So a lot of Republicans agree with those two things. To my Republican colleagues, if we pull the plug on Ukraine, it's going to be worse than Afghanistan. The idea of pulling the plug on Ukraine and it will not affect our national security is a fantasy. It was clear to me that getting out of Iraq in 2011 was too soon and would lead to the rise of radical Islamic terrorists. They literally took over half the country, killed people in Paris and here and everywhere else. Now we're back in Iraq. Should never got out in the first place. The bottom line about Afghanistan, I know it was a long slog and people wanted out, but the Taliban took over within weeks, and the Taliban being in charge of Afghanistan led to other people in the world thinking, hey, America's weak, now's the time to pounce. So in 2021, we withdraw from Afghanistan. Taliban take over. 2022, Russia invades Ukraine. That's been a complete disaster. 2023, Hamas attacks Israel, killing more Jewish people than any time since the Holocaust. 2024, Iranian proxies are killing American soldiers, and they're running wild throughout the world. Other than that, everything is pretty good. Now, having said all that, my point is I want to help Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. I really do. I think it's in our national security interest to do all the above. But I've also said from like day one, I want to help other countries, but we got to help our country first. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the border is not just broken, it is a complete nightmare. It's a national security disaster in the making. 7 million people have come across the border illegally. A lot of people on the terrorist watch list. So it has been a nightmare. And we tried to sit down in a bipartisan way. Senator Murphy, Sinema, Lankford, and others sat down to come up with a bipartisan proposal that I thought did a pretty good job in many ways. However, having said that, I didn't think it was enough. I was hoping to be able to build on what they did, but here's where we're at. The House declared it insufficient. The Republican...
Would the senator yield to a question?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Senator, I was just listening carefully to your speech, and you mentioned that you thought the bill that we had drafted and introduced yesterday was a good start, but not enough. Yeah. I'm wondering if you would remind us how you voted yesterday on the motion to proceed to the bill that had the border package that we worked on together.
I'll be glad to. I voted no because I didn't see a process in place or willingness by my Democratic colleagues to allow me to express I think it could be better. See, in the Gang of Eight, you weren't here, but Senator McCain was, we worked really hard. Senator Bennett's been involved in all this stuff in 2013. And we let the bill come to the floor, people amend it, and we spent days and weeks. So that's why I voted no. Because, I reclaim my time.
Colleagues, would you address your comments to me?
So here's what I'm saying. This has been a half-ass effort to deal with border security. To the people in the
question?
House, no, I'm speaking, and speak later. To the people in the House, we have not really tried hard to secure the border. We took a well-meaning product. People worked really hard. I applaud you and others for coming out with a product that I thought had a lot of good things in it, but not enough for me. So now I can't even vote. We've closed out the border debate, and you may give me a few amendments on Ukraine about the border. That's not the way it works around here. So
to a question?
No. To my House colleagues, you can do better than this. Don't send us back H.R. 2. It's not going anywhere. You know, you couldn't get all Republicans for H.R. 2. We lost one Republican and no Democrat. So this idea we've done enough on the border is BS. I am not done. I'm not going to help Ukraine until we first do a better job helping ourselves. I've given people involved credit for working hard to get a product, but the system in place now, take it or leave it. The reason I voted no is I didn't see any willingness by anybody to allow an amendment process where we could deal with the border issue. I'm getting an amendment on the Ukraine bill about border.
To a question?
That's asked backwards. We don't do it that way. During the Gang of Eight and other attempts, we had a robust amendment process, and let me tell you, I think there's things we can do to make it better. The 5,000-day encounter that kicks in an emergency authority to shut down the border, here's what the Border Council said. 5,000 encounters a day is a catastrophe. 1,000 encounters a day would be a substantial improvement. It is truly an emergency. I was hoping we could talk about that. Now, we may get a vote on that on the Ukraine bill. We have closed out a debate on the border.
To a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, Senator Graham, I know you've been here quite a bit longer than me, but it is my understanding that in order to get to the portion of a bill where we offer amendments on the floor, we first have to pass the motion to proceed. Yeah. And it is also my understanding that it was offered by leadership and the three sponsors of the border bill, which your team gratefully helped us create, that we would have an open amendment process. So could you help me understand why you voted against the motion to proceed
I'll be glad
before we were able to offer any amendments, including your amendments?
Yes, I think the fix is in. I think people on our side and your side wanted to do the border thing as quick as they could so we could get to Ukraine. And I don't trust the system here to be able to allow us to have the debate that we had for the Gang of Eight bill. That's why I voted no, because I didn't see any willingness, and it proved to be correct, because now the Republican leadership has joined with the Democratic leadership to shut down debate on the border bill, throwing a few amendments on the Ukraine bill and saying, aren't you happy now? No, I am not happy. I am not happy. I meant it that I wanted to secure the border before I helped Ukraine. Everything you say about Ukraine is right. I was not kidding to our colleagues in the House. We've done a half-assed job here trying to secure the border. We shut this thing down. Unlike any other time I've been involved in immigration, I've taken a lot of hard votes. You've taken a lot of hard, you've been kicked around. I understand it. Senator Langford, I admire the hell out of him. I thought y'all produced a pretty good product, a really good product in some areas, but it wasn't enough. I want a cap on parole. Let me tell you why I want a cap on parole. During the Trump-Obama years, the average people paroled into the country was 5,600. In the last 2 years, President Biden's paroled over 800,000 people. So the parole was better, but we need a cap to stop the abuse. I'd like to have an amendment on whether or not we should cap parole at 10,000 per year, but I'm getting that on the Ukraine bill. So to my colleague from Arizona, no, no, no. This has not been a real effort to find border security in a bipartisan way. We took your product, take it or leave it. The reason I voted no to proceed is exactly been reaffirmed here. We stopped the process. We're jumping to Ukraine. We're going to do it this weekend, and it's going nowhere in the House.
Would the senator yield to a question?
To those of you who want to help Ukraine, you've made it harder. we're going to lose a handful of Republican votes over here because they felt they were shut out in the debate about how to secure the border.
Would the senator yield to a question?
Votes. No, please. We're going to lose votes over here. You don't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting it through the House because we took the border issue and we didn't address it the way it should have been. We closed it out. I could see the game being fixed. I am here as a proud supporter of Ukraine, telling you that you've hurt the cause of Ukraine by trying to shortchange a debate on the border. Your product was good, but I want to make it better. I've got a National Border Patrol Council letter about 3 things that would make it better. I'd like to introduce it in the record if I could.
Without objection.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to close this thing out. Here's what's going to happen. You may get this bill passed without any border, but it's going nowhere in the House. The House has made it crystal clear to get money for Ukraine and other foreign countries, we got to help our own. Our border is on fire, and I'll give you credit, Senator from Arizona, you've been trying to fix it. I appreciate what you've tried to do, but the system we've employed, to my colleague from Arizona, is unlike any I've ever seen, that we're going to take a consequential moment in American history trying to secure a broken border and not even bring it to the floor for a real debate. And the reason I voted no to proceed is because I saw what was happening. Our people on this side have been obsessed with Ukraine to the point of ignoring our border. There are people who are going to vote no to Ukraine who've always believed that the border was an excuse to try to get Ukraine. I never believed that.
Question?
So the bottom line is that this idea, because 41 of us vote no, you close out the border. How about setting down and reopening the border debate to have a robust debate like we did with the Gang of Eight? So the reason I voted no is I could see where this thing's going. The bill you produced, while I like parts of it, was dead in the House. I'm trying to find a way to make it better if that's possible. To President Trump, who said he just doesn't want to deal with this the next year. I want to deal with it now. We could be attacked tomorrow. I want to let people in South Carolina know I consider this a direct threat to the United States. I want to do something. I want to do it now. I don't want to wait till November.
Would the senator yield to a question?
Sure.
Thank you. Senator, are you aware that the only way to offer amendments on a bill being considered in the United States Senate is to first pass the motion to invoke cloture on the motion to proceed? The vote that we took yesterday at 1:59 p.m.
Right. Are you aware of the fact that people routinely vote not to proceed until they get some kind of understanding of what's coming next? And here's what came next. Not one effort to sit down and talk to the 41 of us. What would you like to change your vote? The fix is in. We're jumped right into Ukraine. We're going to do it this weekend. We did the minimum on the border when it comes to changing a bill that has many good qualities. So you're not convincing me I'm the problem. I've seen this. You have not. I've seen a debate on this floor with Senator Bennett where we got the crap kicked out of us for weeks. We gave everybody who didn't like what we did a chance to come down here and say their side of the story and kick us in the ass. That's the way the process works. We did not do that here, so you're losing votes on Ukraine. You're losing me in terms of trying to fix this problem, because I can't tell our House colleagues that you should accept this product because we have not done what I think needs to be done to try to secure our border.
Will the senator yield to a question?
With that, I'll yield the floor. Thank you.